Hello, students. Welcome back to our lesson with Teacher Slim. So, good morning to everyone watching and listening. Good morning. So, we are going to continue with our lessons. So, today we'll be talking about where do you work? Where do you work? So, that is occupation. Where do you work? Now, this lesson is found in your English textbook. English textbook, page 50, Unit 2, Lesson 3. Page 50, Unit 2, Lesson 3. Okay. So if you open your English textbook, page 50, Unit 2, Lesson 3, you're going to see where do you work. Okay. So when you look at the pictures on this page, we have the firefighter, the fire station, put out the fire, the waiter, the restaurant, and serve food. Okay, so what does the firefighter do? The firefighter, they put out the fire. Where do they work? They work at the fire station. Okay, so when there is a fire somewhere, you call the fire station, and the firefighter will leave from the fire station and come and put out the fire, right? Okay, now the next pictures we have the waiter, restaurant, and serve food. The waiter, where do they work? They work at the restaurant, and what do? They serve food, right? So now we are going to put the numbers on these pictures. Number one, what do you think is number one? I think number one is restaurant. Number two is serve food. Number three, firefighter. Number four, waiter. Number five, put out the fire. And number six is fire station. So if you have your books with you, you write the numbers in your books. Everybody, you write the numbers in your books. Okay, so we are going to proceed with the language test, where we are going to ask questions and answer. Now, when you look at the language test where we have ask and answer, you can see the girl and the boy. The girl is asking, where do you work? And the firefighters, there are two of them. What did they answer? We work at a fire station. We work. So they said we because there are two of them. If it is one person, what do you say? I work at the fire station. We have two people. We work at the fire station. Okay? Then number three, the second question, where you have the boy. The boy asks, what do you do? He's still asking the firefighters, what do you do? We put out the fire. We put out the fire. So where do they work? They work at the fire station. And what do? They put out the fire. Okay? Now, let's proceed to listening, where we are going to read our passage. We listen and we answer the questions. Okay, so when we look at the listening test, we have three people. We have Eric, who is a boy. We have the girl, who is Katie, and a woman. So what are they talking about? Now we have Eric says, let's play a game. Katie says, okay, what game do you want to play? Let's try to guess everyone's job. Fun. Look at her. I think she's a nurse. Really? I think she's a hairdresser. Let's ask her. Excuse me, where do you work? I work at a restaurant. What do you do? I serve food. Are you a waitress? Yes, I am. Okay, so they asked the woman, and she says she works in a restaurant. What does she do? She is a waitress. Okay, good. So now we are going to proceed to ask and answer. We are going to complete the sentences in the passage. Okay, now if we move to our passage, you will see complete the sentences in the passage where we have one. Katie thinks the woman is a nurse. But the woman is not a nurse. What is she? She is a waitress. Okay, Eric thinks the woman is a hairdresser. But she is not a hairdresser. The woman is a waitress. Yeah, where does she work? She works in a restaurant. And what does she do? She serves food. So she is a waitress. She serves food. Okay, so these are the answers to the questions from the passage. Now let's move to the next, which is talk chess. With talk chess, you can see the family sitting, the father, the mom, and the daughter. Now look and say. Now we're going to ask questions here and answer. So the first question will come from the daughter. What did she say? Do work. So what's the question? Where do you work? Where do you work? And the answer, I work in an office. I work in an office. What do you do? What do you do? I make web pages. I'm a web designer. So the daughter is asking her dad, what do you do? Where do you work? What do you do? I work in an office. I make web pages. I'm a web designer. Now we also have the guide where we have the green box. In the green box, where do you work? So you, the students, you're going to ask your dad, your mom, where do you work? What do you do? And you will write the answers in your books, okay? When we will meet in the classroom, teacher is going to check your answers. So you will write the answers in your book. You will ask mommy, where do you work? Daddy, where do you work? Okay? And you write the answer. You ask mommy, what do you do? Daddy, what do you do? And you write the answers. So let's proceed. We will look at the pictures. We will take the pictures and try to make sentences, ask questions and answers. Okay? So when we look at the pictures here, you can see there are 5 pictures. The first picture is in the city, catch criminals, police officer. The second picture, at a flower shop, sell flowers, florist. The third picture, in a garage, fix cars, mechanic. The fourth picture, at the airport, fly airplanes, pilot. The fifth picture, in a library, help people find books. Okay? Now, when we look at these pictures, which type of the last one is help people find books / librarian. Librarian. So now when we look at these pictures, how do we use them to make sentences, to ask and answer questions? Okay, so the first one is in the city. So if you want to ask a question, what do you say? Where do you work? I work in the city. What do you do? I catch criminals. I'm a police officer. Okay? Where do you work? I work in the city. What do you do? I catch criminals. I'm a police officer. Okay? Now, the next picture, that is picture 2, we have, where do you work? I work at a flower shop. What do you do? I sell flowers. I'm a florist. I'm a florist, somebody that sells flowers. Okay. The next picture 3 we have, where do you work? I work in a garage. What do you do? I fix cars. I fix cars. I'm a mechanic. I'm a mechanic. The 4th picture, where do you work? I work at the airport. What do you do? I fly planes. I fly planes. I'm a pilot. The next, where do you work? I work in a library. I help people find books. I'm a librarian. Okay, so we are going to move to our next, which is reading chess. We are going to read and answer the questions. Okay, dear students, now we are on the reading chess, where we are going to read and answer the questions. So what can we see? The passage here is the mechanic. The mechanic. So you listen, teacher will read, and you will repeat after the teacher. Okay. There are a lot of mechanics in Corey's family. His grandpa is a mechanic. His dad is a mechanic, and his mom is a mechanic. Corey's grandpa works at the airport. Corey's grandpa works at the port. He fixes boats. Corey's dad works in a garage. He fixes cars. Corey's mother works at the airport. She fixes airplanes. Does Corey want to be a mechanic too? Yes, he does. He wants to be a bicycle mechanic. Okay, so now you can pause the video and you repeat after the teacher every time. Okay, now let's move to the questions. The questions: what does Corey's grandpa fix? What does Corey's grandpa fix? He fixes boats. He fixes boats. Next, what does Corey's dad fix? He fixes cars. He fixes cars. Okay, so he fixes cars. Now let's move to our writing chess. Our writing chess. Okay. In our writing chess, we are going to complete the conversation. So we are going to use the clues in the orange box. Can you see the orange box? Okay, in the orange box we have web designer, city, and librarian. So if you want to ask questions, what do you say? A, where do you work? B, I work in the city. A, what do you do? B, I help people. A, are you a police officer? B, no, I'm not. I help people find books. O, are you a librarian? Yes, I am. Where do you work? I work in an office. What do you do? I make web pages. I'm a web designer. Okay, so these are the questions to the conversations between A and B, which is the woman and the man. You can see their pictures there. Okay, so let's move to the next. And the next, here we have find an activity, questions and answers, where we have, where do you work? I work at a hospital. Where do you work? I work at a flower shop. So we have questions and answers. So what do? There is a ballot box where you pick out a piece of paper and you read out what is written on the piece of paper. Any question you ask your friend. So you can do that with your family or with your friend. Yeah, You pick a picture, a piece of paper, any question is written there, you ask, and the person has to answer. Okay, so let's proceed. Now, if we want to answer the questions with your partner, what do you say? Where do your parents work? Where do your parents work? My mom works in the city and my dad works in an office. My mom works in the city and my dad works in an office. What do they do? My mom is a police officer. She catches criminals. My dad is a web designer. He makes web pages. Where do your partner's parents work? His mom works in a flower shop and his dad works in a school. What do they do? His mom sells flowers. She is a florist. And his dad teaches children. He is a teacher. He is a teacher, same as Teacher Slim. Okay? Yeah. So, we are going to end our activities for today. You have to study, repeat, and you keep listening to the video so you'll be able to answer the questions. At the end of the video, I'm going to give you a homework where you're going to do the homework online and you will submit. So you have to listen carefully to this video so you'll be able to have all the answers correct. Okay, so goodbye and see you in our next lesson. Bye bye.